Welcome everyone to week 30 of the Genus Weekly in Focus. I can't believe it's been 30 weeks.
3 weeks.
30 weeks. My name is Ian Lesher. I'm a partner and portfolio manager with Genus Capital Management, and I'm here with our CEO, Wayne Wischel. So let's get it started. First full week of October. Wayne, how have the markets reacted this week?
It was a good week for markets. A lot of hope around a COVID stimulus plan in the U.S., which gave the market some hope. A lot of volatility around that, but so far so good. Markets up around 3% for the week. A bit of a cyclical bias, hopes that the economy is coming around again. And we looked at some good numbers out of China as well. And that helped push bond rates back up around 10 basis points. So equities up and bond prices down effectively. So good week for Genus, I think.
Right, I was reading that this was the best week in the market since August. So we haven't had a week like this for a little while. So what has a week like this meant for Genus clients in their portfolios? What have we done that has helped?
It was a good week. We were overweight equities and underweight bonds. So equities are up and bonds were down. That was good for us. From a stock selection perspective, we had a bit of value. Our dividend fund came back a little bit with the cyclical stocks and value-driven stocks. But all in all, a good week for us.
Great. So what's on everyone's mind these days is everything to do with the US election. But I wanted to take a step back and ask you, everyone's focusing on Biden versus Trump, but a lot of the investment experts are actually focusing on the Senate race. So can you go through that for clients as to why the Senate race is so important? Well,
the reason the Senate's so important is they control the purse strings. They control the money. So if Biden got in, he couldn't raise taxes. They have to get approval, anything fiscal from the Senate. So it's a big, big deal. And it would really would hamper Biden's agenda. And he probably could play with maybe deregulation or regulation, but that would be about it unless he brought on the Republicans.
Right, yeah, and the polls involving the Senate are a lot closer than the polls involving Biden and Trump. Right. So on that same theme, Biden appears to be up in the polls right now. So another question we're getting from a lot of clients, and we're talking about a lot in our meetings, is in general, how do you believe the market will react to a Biden victory?
Well, I think in the short run, it's going to be positive. If you look at Biden's agenda, if there's a blue wave and he does take the Senate, there's, I guess, two positives in that there'll be more fiscal stimulus spent in the course of next year. And as well, he's more of a globalist, so he'll definitely be more trade friendly with China and probably Europe. So those are two positives. The negative, of course, is taxes. And the word on the street is that tax increase probably won't happen until later on next year or into 2022. So you get all the good up front and you get the bad later on. So the market tends to focus more in the short run, 6 to 9 months. It's going to focus on the good stuff versus the bad thing coming down the road. And he'll also probably have a bit of a negative impact, I'd say, in terms of deregulation. Generally, in the short run, I would say a positive, but longer term, if they raise taxes, that's about $10 off the S&P earnings, probably about 200 points on the S&P, I would say, into next year, but we'll have to see what happens. So that's why the hope is that the Republicans will hold the Senate and you have if you have a Biden presidency, the Senate is held by the Republicans.
Right. So long term then, are there certain sectors that are disadvantaged in certain areas and industries and sectors that are disadvantaged by a Biden victory versus, say, Trump?
Yes. Well, number one is energy. With his green plan, it's going to impact energy stocks. And also, it's not just, it's probably regulation that would probably impact them more than anything else, as well as the financials. There's more of a regulation push there. Elizabeth Warren was big on going against the banks in that regard. And there's also some concern about the major tech companies. The Democrats really want to go in there, and they're concerned about anti-competitive behavior by them. So I'd say energy, financials, and techs might get impacted by a Biden regime. And on the positive side, you can see the green stocks. We're already seeing a lot of the green stocks moving already. Green infrastructure, they're going to pump a lot of money into that. So that would be the big winner. So infrastructure and green-oriented names would be the winners, I would say. and probably maybe some health cares, because if they support the Obamacare, that'll help some of those areas in there.
Right. So given that, if there is a a period of time where there is some uncertainty of the outcome, it's in the courts, do you view that as an opportunity for Genus clients?
I see it as a buying opportunity. I guess I have some faith in their republic. They have rules, and I think it'll come down to probably a Supreme Court ruling wherever it goes. But I do have faith in the republic that it'll probably stand the test of time, and as what happened with the Bush Gore, and there will be a result. It may not please a lot of people, but there will be a result, and I think they have the governance structure in place to see a finale to this wild and wacky election.
Right. I have one last question that I'm going to throw you off the cuff here. Trump obviously went to the hospital, took Regeneron, took a couple other therapeutics that are fairly new. And do you think this actually has any effect? Doesn't matter what you think about Donald Trump or not, but the effect of somebody that is a public figure going into the hospital with COVID, who's coming out with some therapeutics and actually coming out fairly quickly. Do you think that has had any effect in the way the market is viewing COVID going forward?
I think it has. I think basically the fact that somebody who's one of the most important person in the world has this drug that's in phase 2, and it seems to work well on him, and it's had good test results. It's going to really raise the profile of it, I believe, and that it does work. And I think it's something that especially the older population can rely on longer term. So I think it's a bit of a plus in terms of dealing with COVID. I'm not sure if it'll have an impact on the election. I don't know about that, but I think it's going to help remove some of the stigma and fear of COVID out there, especially for the vulnerable. So it's a good sign. Definitely a good sign.
Right. Well, I have to end this on a positive note. This is one of the most positive weeks we've had just in general with everyday news, and also a long weekend coming up. So we wish happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we'll see you again next week.